Rage here from SageNtheRage, and Taurus the Burning Throne, the final raid of Legion, has been announced to come out on November 28th. So I thought we'd go through some things today that can help you be prepared for that raid to come out. Some of these things will seem pretty basic, but some of them, a little bit of foresight helps out. The first one is get your artifact weapon to level 75. Right now with our artifact knowledge where it is, everything comes out to be almost, most world quests are between 500 million and a billion AP. So this is not that lofty of a goal. Most players in my guild are around 73, 74, some clear down at 70, but there's some time yet to get it ready. Why level 75? Well, for one, Concordance procs go off for 10,900 of a primary stat at 75. You have a stamina increase, which, as we're learning new raids, we need stamina because we're going to take damage because we don't understand mechanics for those first few progress kills. And most importantly, having rank 3 on all of your relics within the Netherlight Crucible. What this does is make any relic that drops a possibility for an upgrade. Let's face it, throughout Legion, we've gotten relics to drop, and a lot of us will pass on them, even if they're a little higher item level, because the trait was garbage. The Netherlight Crucible gives us a chance for our secondary and those third extra traits to be worth something. And if you have rank 3, it makes every relic that drops, that is an eye level upgrade, the potential to be equipped and be an actual upgrade for you. There's no point in going in without level 75. I mean, you can't go in without level 75, but it would be preferred that you are 75. So get out there and grind those world quests. The second thing I want to talk about is faction reputation. Try to have Army of the Light and Argisian reach at Exalted. Army of the Light being the priority. And that is because our wonderful vendor upstairs, and if you're not at Exalted yet, it's really not that hard to get. Everybody should be really close or already there. But the big reason, and why should you spend 40,000 gold on this thing? Your Lightforged Augment rune is huge. When you're doing progression, we come into a new raid, guess what? There's something that comes with progression called wiping. And we're all going to wipe a few times on new bosses while we learn. This allows you to not worry about carrying around a stack of runes. Maybe you do have a surplus that you can burn through first, but as we're learning progression fights, popping a rune every time and getting that extra 325 of your primary stat is just a huge boon to your DPS, your healing, and your survivability. So try to pick this bad boy up. 40,000 gold is easily made with the tabletop quests and the regular world quests. So there's the rune. And then the other thing that we kind of want to talk about is this guy down here on the list of stuff to get ready. Trinket Roulette. I have bought well over 200 trinkets from this guy and still haven't found much to beat some of my stuff. Can't get that Arcana Crystal at 910. Did get an Eye of Command for single target fights though, and that's just really good for Demon Hunters if I could match it with a Warforged chest from Karzan. But you want to be buying trinkets off this guy a lot, because some of the new trinkets in Antorus, depending on your class and your spec, are good, and some of them not so great. So it's not a bad idea to have some backups going in there that'll be worth something. Or maybe you just need to get your item level up on a few extra slots because you switched mains. Get out there again, grind those world quests. Getting this Veiled Argonite for buying these random items will also net you that rep, to net you that rune, to get you the AP, to get to level 75. So don't ignore a map full of quests. Okay? Very important to do. The next thing is to know the loot and research your spec changes. Know your loot. Know which tier pieces are going to have the best stats for you, and also what your tier set is going to do to your playstyle. So for Demon Hunters, we have this big focus on I-Beam, and I-Beam goes well with Demonic specs, so a lot of us have been playing Chaos Blades, but as Demon Hunters, we need to maybe start getting ready to play Demonic. And when you play Demonic, you don't need as much haste as you do with Chaos Blades. So when I'm looking over gear, inside of my, adventure journal here, adventure guide, it's important for me to realize which pieces are going to give me mastery and crit. Now this is going to change for every spec and every class, but know which pieces are going to be your best in slot to achieve your 4 slot, so that way when stuff drops, you can either pass it off to somebody else who needs it, or not roll on an item that's not that good for you that could be great for your teammates. Every piece of gear that goes out that is a major upgrade for somebody else but a minor upgrade for you, and you take it from your raid team, you are holding your progression back. So really be aware of what the drops are, what the stats are, and be prepared for those things to drop, and know which bosses you want to use your extra bonus rolls on. Really take a look at the gear and target what you want first, and know who's dropping what, when, and where. So that's a big thing. Research the drops. Next thing is stock up on supplies. I cannot stress this enough. Have your flasks ready. Have your foods always ready. Have your potions ready. Have your prolongs. Astral healing potions. Yes, hopefully there's a warlock in us to give us the cookies because they're always better. But 1.1 million health off the astral is way better than the regular healing potions before this patch. So always stock up. And another thing that I like to do before a major raid comes out is I like to kind of go ham on the stock up so that during the progression time, I don't have to log in and deal with switching from my alts to other tunes to farm up the gear and get on my alchemist to make the potions. I try to have a pretty good stock going. So you see I've got all this food stocked up. I've got, 44 flasks plus another, 20 in my bags. I've got a ton of Old Wars, regular healing potions, astrals, extra prolonged power. Have yourself stocked, locked, and ready so that when progression comes out, you can actually focus on, what you want to do. And maybe you're not to level 75 by the time Antorus comes out on your weapon. Maybe you don't have the reputation that you want for that rune by the time Antorus comes out. You don't want to have to be messing around with making stuff. And then the other thing is, coming prepared to a raid is just a courtesy thing to everybody else in the raid. If you're ready to go all the time, one, you get to the pull faster because not everybody's asking, can somebody put down this, or that, or can somebody trade me, whatever. You get more pulls, you get more attempts, you get through progression faster when you come prepared on every aspect. It's a huge thing. Other things will be when Vantus runes come out for the next raid, be sure to try to get some of those between your guild. Have some Tomes of the Tranquil Mind. See, I need to stock up on a few more of those. And Drums on the Mountain, because you never know, your regular Bloodlust crew or person in your raid might not be there that night. And it's always good to have Drums to be that guy that can say, hey, I'm ready to do this. Being the guy who is prepared all the time, or gal, allows you to be just a more utility player and probably get you brought back to a raid if you're trying to get into a new team more than being unprepared. The last thing that I really want to cover is review boss guides. So, number one, open your adventure guide. Actually read through some of these abilities on your own for all these fights. And then go out on YouTube. Find some places like Fat Boss TV. They have some pretty good guides to get everybody started, especially on normal, heroic, and sometimes they even do mythic stuff off the PTR before it even launches. Find a channel that gives you guides on these bosses before you get in there. Don't be that person that comes to raid and you don't have a clue what any of these bosses do. Because having to teach you every single detail slows down the amounts of pulls, it slows down the guild progression, and it slows down everybody getting loot. Whereas if you come with the semblance of an idea and your raid leader lays out a plan, now you know why they're telling you to stand on color marker X and color marker orange, and why you need to move. Having that understanding saves time and builds it up. Now, if you don't have time to get all this stuff done, I would prioritize knowing the gear. I would prioritize knowing and reviewing the fights so that progression happens between item level and gear, and also knowing what's going on in the battles. And then as you continue to play, you're going to do world quests. You'll get to the rep to get the runes. You'll get the AP to unlock the weapon to its fullest. And those things will happen naturally over time. But know the bosses, know the gear, know what you're aiming after off each boss, so that you can be the most effective raider you can be when we come out to Antorus. Good luck to everybody in the new raid when it comes out. Hope everybody gets some sweet kills and some fat loot. If you like this content, hit like and subscribe, share with a friend. Thank you so much for all the support so far. Rage out.